Close your eyes for a moment and listen. It is not the sound of waves nor the whisper of the wind. It is silence. A silence that precedes the most deafening scream ever conceived. The grinding of Yggdrasil's ancient stones and the apocalyptic clash of two worlds colliding. This is not a tale of simple heroism, but the narrative of an inexorable fate, the final dance between order and chaos, where even the gods in all their glory must kneel. Ragnarok is not merely a prophecy. It is the last breath of an era, the twilight that kisses the end to give birth to the new. Prepare yourself, for the veil of time rises, and you are about to witness the grandest and most tragic tale ever told by the Nordic winds. Dark omens, the breaking of cosmic bonds. Long before the trumpets of war sounded, the fabric of Norse existence began to unravel. The first deep crack in the cosmos was the death of Baldur, the most beautiful and beloved of the Aesir gods. A betrayal orchestrated by Loki plunged Asgard into mourning and ushered in an era of mistrust and despair. The feast of the gods became a feast of tears, and the darkness of discord began corroding the heart of the pantheon. This murder was the first dissonant note in the cosmic symphony, the venomous stain that would slowly spread. This was followed by the Fimbul winter, the winter of winters. 3 relentless winters without a single summer to soothe the land. Snow blanketed Midgard with an icy and merciless shroud. Crops failed, famine tightened its grip, and despair infiltrated the souls of men. Brothers turned against brothers, families shattered over scraps of bread, and honor, once the foundation of human society, disintegrated under the weight of anarchy. Humanity itself, Odin's creation, succumbed to savagery, mirroring the moral collapse taking root in the divine realms. The Fimbul winter was not mere climate. It was a forewarning, an omen of the chaos that would engulf all realms. While the land froze, the skies too heralded the end. Skuld and Hati, the cosmic wolves who had chased the sun and moon for eons, finally caught their prey. The sun, Sol, and the moon, Mani, were devoured, plunging the 9 worlds into a primordial darkness, a prelude to eternal night. The absence of light brought not only cold, but profound disruptions to the rhythm of life, time, and hope itself. Under the weight of Fimbul winter and darkness, Yggdrasil, the world tree, began to groan. Its colossal branches quivered, its roots writhed under constant attack by the dragon Nidhogg and countless serpents. Earthquakes tore the world's surfaces, mountains crumbled into ruins, and the ancient bonds holding back primordial forces began to snap. It was the universe's final pulse, the ultimate contraction before the great rupture, the awakening of chaos. The chains are broken. When Yggdrasil trembled, the last seals confining chaos came undone, unleashing ancestral terror. Fenrir, the monstrous wolf and most feared son of Loki, broke free of Gleipnir, chains woven from the impossible. His roar echoed across realms, a howl of vengeance and hunger that proclaimed the impending death of the All-Father himself. Once a distant threat, Fenrir now walked free, his jaws eager to consume. Jörmungandr, the world serpent, once a lethargic ring around Midgard, thrashed violently, spewing venom across land and sea. Its massive body whipped the oceans, creating colossal tsunamis that wiped out coastal cities and drowned countless lives. The air turned toxic, and water became lethal. Nature itself waged war against existence. Lastly, there was Loki, the breaker of promises, freed from his bindings and endless torment. His heart, filled with hatred and resentment toward the Aesir, pulsed with the energy of destruction. Reaching Helheim, the land of the dead, he assembled his army for the final act of vengeance. The last preparations of the divine. Bravery against fate. In Asgard, the golden glow of its halls was dimmed by the looming shadow. The gods, fully aware of the prophecies and their sealed fates, refused to succumb to despair. They prepared, each in their own way, for the ultimate and inevitable battle. Odin, the All-Father, bore the burden of the end on his shoulders. He knew that Fenrir was his fate. Wearing his golden crown and sporting his single-seeing eye, he consulted the Norns one last time, sought wisdom in the well of Mimir, and gathered the Einherjar, the bravest fallen warriors, in Valhalla's grand halls. With the best of weapons and carefully forged strategies, he inspired the warriors with his fierce gaze. His words spoke of acceptance, but his stance was that of a leader ready to die fighting. His spear, Gungnir, seemed to hum in his hand, thirsting for the final confrontation. Thor, the thunder of Asgard, was at the apex of his fury and power. He felt the serpent, Jörmungandr, coursing in his blood, their rivalry eternal. He donned his iron gloves, tightened the belt of power Megingjord, and grasped Mjolnir, the most powerful hammer in the 9 worlds. His muscled body was tense, every fiber braced for the ultimate battle against his archenemy. Thor feared not death, only failing to protect Midgard from its fate. Freyr, the god of fertility and peace, bore a deep sorrow. His magical sword, forged for decisive combat, had long ago been given up for love. Yet, riding his golden boar Gullinbursti, he took his place alongside the gods, knowing that his duel against the fire giant Surt would lead to his end. His courage lay not in brute strength, but in the acceptance of sacrifice for a world he so dearly loved to nurture. Heimdall, the eternal watchman, stood guard in his tower, Hisenbjorg, on the Bifrost Bridge. His senses, so sharp they could hear grass grow and wool on sheep, detected the first tremors of Chaos's legions. He positioned Gjallarhorn, the horn that would summon the gods to war. His piercing eyes, capable of seeing everything, never left the horizon, waiting for the exact moment to sound the final alarm. Tyr, the god of courage and justice, without his right hand, sacrificed to imprison Fenrir, sharpened his sword with his remaining hand. He embodied honor, and knew his destiny was to face Garm, the hellhound of Helheim. His preparation was more spiritual than physical, a silent pact with his essence of loyalty and bravery. The gathering of armies. Vigridr's battlefield, the alarm rings. Heimdall's Gjallarhorn echoes across the 9 worlds, a deafening sound that is both a warning and a lament. It is the signal. From Helheim, the ship Naglfar, built from the nails of the dead, sails over turbulent waves, carrying an army of corrupted souls and frost giants from Jotunheim, led by Loki. Surt, with his flaming sword, leads the fiery brood of Muspelheim, a river of flame consuming all in its path. Fenrir and Jörmungandr advance, their titanic bodies tearing apart the landscape. In response, Valhalla's gates open. Thousands of Einherjar, Odin's valorous fallen warriors, march to the battlefield, their shields gleaming, their swords hungering for blood. The Aesir and Vanir, the gods of Asgard, take their places, each one aware of their prophecy yet determined to fight to their last breath. Vigridr, a once peaceful and vast field, becomes the stage for the greatest cosmic clash, The ground shakes, the air boils, and the collision of armies rends the skies. Celestial blades clash with primordial darkness. The monstrous roars interweave with the gods' war cries. The final duels. The sacrifice of the mighty. The Battle of Ragnarök is not an indistinct mass of chaos, but a series of predestined duels, each carrying its own weight of tragedy and heroism. Heimdall versus Loki. Amidst the initial chaos, Heimdall, the keeper of order, and Loki, the master of deception, encounter one another. Their rivalry, symbolic of law against chaos, culminates in a frenzied combat. Heimdall wields his mighty sword Hofud, while Loki employs his illusions and daggers. Their duel is relentless, a savage clash of precision and trickery. Ultimately, both fall, mortally wounded by each other's blows. Their bodies collapse together, marking the simultaneous end of the vigilant guardian and the betrayer who set the cosmos aflame. It is the ultimate closure to an ancient feud, mirroring the destruction of both order and its disruptor. Freyr versus Surt. In the midst of an already burning battlefield, Freyr, god of fertility and peace, rides headfirst into combat against Surt, the towering fire giant with his flaming sword, Levitain. Freyr, though fearless, faces Surt without his magical sword, which he had surrendered as a bride price in days long past. Riding his golden boar Gullinbursti, Freyr attacks with all the bravery of one who has nothing to lose. But Surt, an unstoppable force of primordial destruction, is too powerful. After a fierce exchange, Freyr is consumed by Surt's flames, falling in heroic sacrifice for a world he once nurtured. His death marks one of the first great losses of the gods. Odin versus Fenrir. The most dreaded confrontation unfolds. Odin, the All-Father, meets his fated end against Fenrir, the monstrous wolf he had sought to prevent through trickery and chains. Mounted on his steed, Sleipnir, Odin charges into battle, his spear, Gungnir, aimed at the beast's heart. The clash is brief yet monumental, for Odin cannot escape the prophecy of his demise. Fenrir's colossal jaws close around Odin, swallowing him whole. The death of Odin, the wisest and most revered of the gods, sends shockwaves across the battlefield. His fall is met with cries of grief and horror from those who witness it. The father of all is no more. Vidar versus Fenrir. Witnessing his father's tragic end, Vidar, the silent son of Odin, steps forward to face Fenrir. He wears his enchanted boot, crafted from all the leather scraps ever left behind by shoemakers. With sheer determination and a singular purpose of avenging Odin, Vidar leaps upon the wolf. Using the boot to pin down Fenrir's jaw, he forces open its massive mouth with his bare hands, ripping it apart and killing the beast. Vidar avenges his father and fulfills the prophecy, proving himself as a god of unyielding strength and resolve. Tyr versus Garm. The one-handed god of courage and justice, Tyr, faces his destined opponent, Garm, the bloodthirsty hound guarding Helheim. Their duel is ferocious and primal, fueled by raw survival instinct and untamed aggression. Though outmatched physically, Tyr fights with the honor and stubborn bravery that define him. In the end, both combatants deal each other mortal wounds, collapsing simultaneously onto the battlefield. Tyr's self-sacrifice ensures that justice and valor endure even beyond death. Thor versus Jörmungandr. The most anticipated and catastrophic duel, Thor, the god of thunder, meets his ancient enemy, Jörmungandr, the world serpent. Wielding Mjolnir, Thor battles the enormous serpent with earth-shaking force. Each strike from the hammer sends ripples across the battlefield, while Jörmungandr retaliates with venomous torrents and thrashing coils that devastate the surroundings. At last, Thor delivers a mighty blow to the serpent's head, killing it. Yet Jörmungandr's venom seeps into Thor's veins. The god of thunder manages to walk 9 staggering steps before succumbing to the poison, collapsing lifeless. The protector of Midgard falls, his death reverberating through the 9 worlds. The purging fires and flood, the end of the old world, with the mightiest gods and champions now fallen. Surt, the fire giant, fulfills his destiny. He raises his flaming sword high, and an unstoppable inferno consumes everything. Asgard burns, the branches of Yggdrasil smolder, and the cosmos collapses into a fiery cataclysm. The 9 worlds are reduced to ash in the cleansing flame. Nothing remains untouched. The fires scorch even the skies. And then water rises. From the broken oceans and rivers, an apocalyptic flood surges, extinguishing the flames and drowning whatever had survived. Entire landscapes disappear beneath the waves, and silence descends. The old world is no more. The whisper of a new dawn, the promise of renewal. But Ragnarök is not the absolute end. It is a transition, the necessary destruction of the old to make way for the new. Under the waters and ashes, life begins to stir. When the floodwaters recede, a green and lush land emerges, purified by fire and water. A new earth is born, untouched by past corruption, brimming with the promise of hope. A new light rises in the sky. Sol's daughter, the new sun, ascends to the heavens, shining brighter than her mother ever had. Her rays warm the rebuilt worlds, signaling the rebirth of an era. Among the survivors of the gods stand Vidar and Vali, sons of Odin, who inherit their father's wisdom and strength. Thor's sons, Modi and Magni, recover Mjolnir from the battlefield, ready to protect the new world with their father's legacy. From the realm of the dead, Baldur and Hodr return, embodying renewal and redemption. In the heart of Hodmimis Holt, a secluded forest untouched by Surt's flames, 2 human survivors emerge, Leif and Lifthrasir, the last of humanity. Hidden during the destruction, they now step forward to repopulate Midgard. Their resilience and instinct to survive ensure that life goes on. The gods, now fewer but wiser, reunite in Idavolr, where Asgard once stood, to discuss the future. They find the ancient golden tablets of their ancestors and begin anew, with a deep sense of reflection and learning. The cosmic cycle starts once again, not as a recreation of the old, but as a new chapter rooted in growth, harmony, and lessons learned from the past. Conclusion: the eternal return and the courage to exist. Ragnarök is the profound saga of endings as transformations. It teaches us that destruction is never an absolute conclusion, but a cleansing transition, a fertile ground for renewal. The Norse gods, by bravely embracing a destiny they cannot escape, show that true courage lies not in avoiding the inevitable, but in facing it head-on, fighting unwaveringly for what one holds dear until the very end. In this legendary tale, destruction does not signify despair. It is purification, an opportunity for rebirth. It serves as a powerful metaphor for our own lives. The end of a relationship, the failure of a venture, the loss of a cherished dream. All these are our personal Fimbulwinters. But if we channel the bravery of the Aesir, the resilience of Yggdrasil, and the hope of Lif and Lifthrasir, we too can rise from the ashes, stronger and wiser, ready to build anew. Ragnarök is not just an ancient story. It is a timeless reflection of our journey through loss, resilience, and renewal. Keep the flame of legends alive. If you felt the tremors of Yggdrasil, heard Fenrir's roar, and the blast of Heimdall's horn, and if the gods' courage resonated within your soul, then this story is for you. Don't let the tapestry of legends unravel. Share this saga, comment on your impressions, and pass it on to other seekers of myth. To dive deeper into the epic sagas, the secrets of the gods, and the ancient lessons that continue to shape our world, subscribe and never miss our future tales. Together, we'll keep the myths alive, honoring the old and inspiring the new. Ragnarök may mark the end of an era, but for us, it is merely the beginning of an endless journey into knowledge and imagination.